It is. It is so nice, Susan. It's kind of like my last grasp at summer. It's a beautiful day.
How it sounds lovely.
It is.
I'm in.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear where you are.
I'm Lua Pritchard.
Oh, hi, Lua.
Hi.
Lua, that luau was wonderful.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for
Wonderfully
coming.
organized. Oh, couldn't have. I wouldn't have missed it. And if you do it again, I'll be sure to sign up. I am a new fan of guava cake.
Hey, Sally, Saturday's supposed to rain.
Right. Righto.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? That is Plan B, Lua. Plan B.
Okay.
We have a big 30 by 30 tent we got with our COVID money.
Okay.
And so Plan B is to make sure the stage fits under that, and we'll essentially cover that stage, which would be the stage and dance area. And the rest would just be open. You know, vendors can vend in the rain, that's not a problem. But it will put a damper on things. We're talking about the 25th anniversary party this Saturday, everybody.
Yes, we'll be there. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, you never know. Let's see if we have a time. Oh, 5:03. So Linda is calling in now. Do you see that, Nikki?
I can't tell who's on the call, Sally, how many people. So I don't know when you want to get started.
Okay, so we've got Susan, Paige, Lua, Lonnie, and Sylvie.
Okay. Hi, Lonnie. Hi, Sylvie.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
So I think we should start.
Okay. All righty. Well, with that in mind, could I get a motion to approve the minutes from July?
So moved.
And second?
Bonnie Neal seconds.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Okay. Minutes are approved. As you know, we did not have a meeting in August because Sally very graciously opened her home to a, how shall I say, a mini retreat break in her beautiful home. So thank you again for that, Sally.
That was so nice.
It was
the food you brought.
Thank you, Sally.
Okay, so we'll start with the Public Art Committee report. And I think normally, well, Lonnie and Earl kind of had that up a little bit. Who would like to jump in since I didn't hear Earl's on the call?
Earl is not here, so that, I guess by de facto, means me.
And,
yeah,
and I don't know if you have all
you're
the
pretty
updates.
excellent. So.
All right, I'm trying to get the agenda up in front of me. Sorry, everybody.
Well, the first part, Lonnie, is about John Fleming, kind of the updates with John Fleming, but I've actually been handling that because it's more city stuff with the contract. So
okay.
I will go ahead and share that he has signed a contract. We've even made the initial payment to him. And he's going to try to come out this Saturday and just get a feel for the community, though it's too early to do any community engagement piece. So he's excited and he'll be working on honing his design, and that's where we are with that.
Perfect.
Sally, do we have like a date when he anticipates that it will be installed by?
Yeah, summer, August 2022.
Okay, so basically a year from now, sort of.
Correct.
Okay. Certainly something to look forward to.
Yeah, we'll plan a fun event around that.
Yeah.
And Lonnie, I'll let you show his PowerPoint. We'll share the screen so that you can show Earl's PowerPoint.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is for the utility boxes, doing the signal wraps. And basically we were charged with the task of looking at like what the next 10 potential locations could be. I don't know, do we have that many? I don't think we have that many in the queue though, financially yet, Sally, right?
No, but I was given permission to do more right now.
Yeah.
City manager loved what went up. I don't know if you've all been able to see them, but they look amazing.
Mhm.
Rosa Cruz did the colorful rocks on 108th and Bridgeport. It doesn't show up so well, and so I'm having them do the smaller box, the same design, and they sent the proof and it looks great. So that'll give it a little more pizzazz. And then my thought is we'll identify the next boxes, which this PowerPoint is going to show potential next boxes. And then I was thinking, and we can have this dialogue, but hand selecting the artists and kind of tell them what we're looking for versus doing a call to artists, because I didn't think that worked as well as maybe we would have hoped in terms of the number of artists that had workable and exciting work to put on the boxes.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you feel.
I do feel, but don't you feel, I feel like, well, it might be interesting for us to review some of those designs that were submitted the first time, because I feel like we had a solid 6 or 8 designs that were really good. Maybe I'm not remembering that correctly.
No,
but-
we can do that. And for example, Leap of Faith, I didn't think it would look great. It turned out, I think, to be the best one. I mean, it's amazing. I think a lot will depend on the location too.
Right.
You know the one that was the Mount Rainier?
Yes.
Did we set that one aside, or did we go with that?
We haven't used it yet. It's amazing. It will look phenomenal. They did do a proof so that I could just see it on a box, and it looked amazing. So that's a great that's one we can use.
Okay. Well, that's great, because that fits right in with circling back and using something from that was previously submitted. So good.
Oh,
Are you able to share your screen?
I'm sorry. You were waiting for me on that one.
Oh, no, that's okay.
I wasn't sure if you were pulling it up or me. Sorry, everybody. Let's see if I can do screen share. Yeah, and I'm not sure how much detail all of us want to go into on this.
Well, the goal is to pick maybe our top 5 locations, and then we'll share that with the city manager.
Is everybody able to
And
see?
you pick, or even all 10, just prioritize them, what we think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 10.
Okay.
And we just know those are the ones in the queue.
So, yeah, so there are 10 boxes. Is everybody able to see this first slide with the one that's at Gravelly Lake and Nyanza? Can you see that slide?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. Okay, so on the map that's in this location right here, one of the things Earl and I talked about with these boxes is, and you'll see that really in this selection of 10, some boxes definitely are more prominent in their locations, just in terms of how high visibility they are. And a lot of that has to do really in some cases with what's behind the box. So all of these are a little bit different, but like this one, you know, Gravelly Lake Drive and Nyanza, you know, huge traffic area, you know, lots of cars come by it, and it's really nice and visible because of, you know, the backdrop of the trees. So whatever we put on that is going to really pop out. And then the next one here is at Steilacoom Boulevard and Custer in this, you know, this triangular area again, you know, that was redone like what, about a year ago, I think. What's clever about, yeah, so that's at this location up here, if you can see my cursor. What's clever is that this one, it will have 360 degrees viewing, you know, with the way you're able to drive around it. So that could be interesting depending on what art piece we select. This one's at Gravelly Lake Drive and Wild Air, kind of right down the street from the school, Clover Park School District offices. Again, it's just super, super visible. You know, it's standing out there on its own out at the corner. And it's, you know, a lot of cars go past that, so it'll get a lot of visibility. This one's at Bridgeport and 100th. Again, it's right there at the corner, huge, busy intersection, and highly visible. Is this working okay for everybody with me, how I'm going through these?
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, well, and this one at 100th is nice because it's definitely two large boxes. So that gives us more canvas to work with. This one is here, corner of Davison and 108th. You know, again, you can see it just stands out really nicely at the intersection, so it will be highly visible. Vernon and Washington, that's way over here, kind of off the Veterans area. Again, it's right there at the corner, high visibility. You can kind of see the theme Earl and I have. So Edgewood and Washington, of course, Washington Boulevard, sorry, high traffic area. This one also stands out because of this hedge, you know, backdrop. So any kind of color is really going to pop. You know, and there's you know, it's interesting. I would argue there's a fair amount of traffic at this intersection too for going into the backside of the base. Not just on Washington, but if you're, you know, going on base. So this is at the corner of Far West and Steilacoom Boulevard, you know, like on your way going in or out of Steilacoom or to and from either of the high schools. You know, again, super high visibility. It just stands, you know, right out there at the corner. This is over near the cinemas off of 84th. You know, again, it's a nice box that right there on the corner, and you can imagine anything colorful on that is really going to stand out. And then this one is same thing, you know, at the corner of Lakeview and 108th, but it will definitely pop. So those are the 10 recommendations that Earl and I have come up with. Not necessarily in order of importance, you know, so I don't know if we want to review all of those or if we want to prioritize which ones we think should be the first 5.
What's interesting to me is it doesn't look like any of them are graffiti.
Right.
What, Sally? I'm sorry, I missed that.
It doesn't look like any of them have graffiti on them.
That's wonderful.
That's amazing.
Well, I think you guys have,
PowerPoint.
Yeah, I think you've done a really good job lining out the 10 possibles. Those are great locations.
Yeah, so then I think that, the next question is, I mean, maybe one way, do we prioritize that we want the highest traffic areas first? Or do we want to have a distribution, there's obviously a handful of these that are kind of centered on either Gravelly Lake or Stillicum or 100th, all in this zone. Do we want to pick 5 and have them be, from as far around, the Lakewood community, like an even spatter pattern? I don't know if I'm describing myself
Right.
well.
Well, and you touched on this, our main priority was, underserved areas and kind of blighted areas, but all of these are really equal in that sense. So then it, if we can't come to a conclusion, I could just show this PowerPoint to Mary and have her take it to city manager and see if they have any thoughts around that.
Yeah. I mean, I think,
one thing that, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, Veterans Drive, I think they've just finished that street project where they put in all the sidewalks and redone the mailboxes, haven't they?
Yes.
On Veterans. And so this box, and I apologize for not being able to see the PowerPoint, but I got the addresses in my head from you, Lonnie. But, when I think of Veterans Drive and, up to the Veterans Hospital and the like, I was thinking, gosh, it sure would be nice to do one of those boxes and something that it was kind of patriotic.
Clever.
That's a very modest area too. I would say in terms of many of the homes in that area. I don't know how other people feel, but I think a lot of them are probably more on the modest side. So I don't know. That was just
Is there a box
something
in
I thought of when we
particular?
talked about veterans. I beg your pardon?
Is there a box in particular? Because I know they added roundabouts.
I certainly don't have one in mind, Sally. I was just thinking that, a wrapped box might complement all of that great infrastructure work that they've done to fix the roads, put in the sidewalks and do the mailboxes. And if they had like a covered utility box that was sort of patriotically themed to kind of go with the VA hospital, Veterans Drive, it kind of might be nice. I don't know, just a thought.
I love the idea, but I think it's a lot like Tillicum where they put in all the roundabouts so there's no longer signal boxes. And I think that is probably the case on Veterans Drive. I'll drive by and see. But when you put
I don't know. What was the address, Lonnie, that you had for veterans?
Oh, well, there's one, it's at Vernon and Washington. So it's in that Veterans Drive area, but it's not on one of the refinished roads. I think that's got to be the one.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I feel like Gilda Radner. Never mind.
And can I make a suggestion? I don't know if you already mentioned this, but can't we just do something very simple, like just ask our traffic engineers, where do the most people drive by, walk by, and make those priorities? Just because the most people will see them. I'm just saying, hey, let's get the biggest bang for our buck. It's not rocket science. We know the busiest areas. Let's just get the stats and put those beautiful things where most people will see them. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion, Paige. I mean, we definitely had some art pieces already picked, and Sally, if you're able to take this up with these 10 locations, we should be able to pin that list down pretty quickly of what's going on.
Absolutely. I can run it by.
I will turn off my screen sharing if I can figure that out, everybody.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to put a
Great,
plan
great,
on this
very
because-
helpful PowerPoint, Earl.
Yeah, Earl's the one who put that together. He did a phenomenal job. So
And I know you worked with them too, Lonnie. Thank you.
Okay. So do you want to move on to real life 96, Sally?
Yes, please.
Okay. So most of you will recall that we tabled Life, the Lakewood Independent Film Expo, due to COVID. Well, we're dusting it off again, and we have received $10,000 from. Well, how would we categorize those funds, Sally? Are they Parks and Rec funds? Are they?
Yeah, from the city Parks and Rec, yeah.
Okay, so we have $10,000, and on the 23rd, I'll be making a presentation in front of the lodging tax commission, I guess it is, for a grant to essentially put on Real Life 96, which is the competition, the short film competition that sort of sits under the umbrella of Life. And we have Cameron, and I believe his last name is Fairfield or Fairchild. I forget which. I'm sorry, I should know. At any rate, he has been assigned to help us pull together this project. And I had my first meeting with him last Friday, and he's pulling together the administrative piece relative to releases and other documents, because some of those things will probably have to go to legal in order to be approved, to be disseminated as part of a registration package for those who are interested. And I'm not sure where we're going to land, but at this point, we're looking at next year, probably next March, when this will come to some fruition. Whether the films will be shown at the AMC Theater in Lakewood Town Center, or on a city day at McGavick Conference Center remains to be seen. But like I said, I'll be making that presentation on the 23rd of September. That'll determine how much more money we have in order to pull this together. And I think once we know what we have in the way of money, it'll be an opportunity for the Performing Arts Subcommittee to get together and decide how do we want to apportion that money going forward for this event.
And I might
Anything you'd like?
Everyone who's on the Performing Arts Committee, because this is really exciting. We're moving forward with it, and it's a big deal. It'll be the first one in Lakewood, I believe. And those on that committee are Lonnie, Lua, Adriana, Phil, and Sylvie, and Paige. Of course.
So it's very exciting. It's like I said, it's been in mothballs for the better part of a year or more, and just receiving word that I think it was just the end of last month, I just got the word that we got $10,000, which is wonderful. It's going to be very interesting to see how things proceed with the lodging tax, and whether or not we will also get a grant that direction too. So going to be fun to see how we can bring this to life. No pun intended.
That's great work, Linda. Thank you for doing that. It's nice to hear something's moving forward.
Nice to hear something positive, huh, Lonnie? I know.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, it's
And
great.
it's really kind of COVID proof, you know, because the film competition can take place regardless of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I mean, I'm sure you all are paying attention, but all the theater groups are now going right now. Everyone has to have a Vax card or a COVID negative test, and they mask up and they see live theater. So we're moving forward into our new world, and it is possible. So it's great news.
Great.
Thanks for that, Paige. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so faster than Real Life 96, which again is we're looking sometime March of 2022. It's the 25th anniversary celebration coming up on September 18th, and I'm a little nervous about the weather on the 18th, but Sally, if you could give us an update.
Yes, so the event's from 2 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. Lua did an amazing job lining up all the entertainment. International entertainment, you know, the focus really is celebrating our diverse community. So that's the theme. And every half an hour, she has arranged for a different international group to perform. We do need volunteer help with setup between 10:30 and 1:30. If anyone wants to come out, you can let me know. We're blowing up a lot of helium balloons, and we have printed off, I'll show you, all of the pieces of artwork for the 25th anniversary art contest. So 134 pieces like this, through the school district, it's weatherproof, but we have to put it all up on art boards and with little gel dots, and that's going to take some time, and that'd be a good project for our group since we were the ones that kicked that off. But we'll have 2 big art boards and we'll have that displayed. So
Sally, where do you want the volunteers to meet on the 18th?
So we meet in front of the theater around 10:30.
Okay, well, count me in, I'll be there.
Oh, thank you.
Paige said her too.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Sally, I have something I have to check with a scheduling thing with my kiddo, but otherwise I will definitely be hands-on.
Yeah, I'm to be counted on for the first part of it because I've got some gigs in the afternoon and evening, but I can help set up.
Thank you.
I'll be at the History Museum with the new Ivan exhibit.
Great.
Okay, Phil.
Don't confuse me with Ivan, though.
Okay. Is there anything else, Sally, that you wanted to cover?
No, that's all.
Okay. All right. So new business. We've got our annual joint commission meeting with the city council coming up next month, October the 11th at 7 p.m. And Sally very graciously has prepared some talking points for that meeting. This is an opportunity to showcase our achievements, things that we've accomplished in the past, and also talk about some things that we're going to be working on, upcoming events and the like. And also to get some feedback from the commission with regard to maybe the kinds of things that they might like to see in terms of what we do and or what they'd like to hear from us. And I'm just going to close my door here just a second. Sorry for the noise there. And just basically take some time as a group to familiarize them and get their perspective on whether or not we are in a place that they're comfortable in terms of our work. So do you want to put up the talking points, Sally? Do you have the ability to do that? Or
Yeah, I just called those up. Can everyone see them? Is that a yes? Okay. So the caveat to this is last year we had a very slim turnout, and I just want to remind everyone that this is the one time of year that the city council members are meeting only with the Arts Commission. And so it behooves us to be present. And I'm going to make an ask that everyone attends this meeting, October 11th at 7 p.m. From there, I will do no
Did
talk.
you say 7?
7 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'd like an emailed RSVP because I send those names to Brianna so that she can introduce everyone. It's very important. And like I said, nothing else is on their agenda but our commission. So with that said, I will do no talking at all. And the members, I've actually put names next to each talking point, but we're going to go through essentially 2021's work plan, a little bit of 2020's because we meet in October, so we have to discuss November and December of last year. But I've taken the liberty of putting names in based on who led those different programs, but that can be changed. And I'd like to actually have the person that is assigned read through them. I'd like to actually read through this whole thing and we'll do it a final time in our October meeting. I thought, Linda, that you could do script and
I could do
oh, well, the very beginning, it talks about the public art program and it just is reminding the city council of the public art program that the commission created. And that although funding was not approved for 2021, we used this document as our guideline. And we focused on the lower price point art installations like the murals and the signal boxes. And we kept those top of them, and those actually came to fruition this year. But just always reminding them about that public art program because it is such a new document. It's new and it's exciting. And it's like our Bible. That's what we're using, and that's what we're asking the city council to continue to fund. So
Okay.
the first one is Sylvie with the MLK ceremony. And Sylvie, I just put you on that because you developed the video. But I thought, do you mind reading through these talking points? And then, so you're familiar with them and then you can make it sound more natural that night. But these are just little things to jog your memory.
Okay. So I'm not adding anything to it. I'm just reading straight.
You can certainly add to it. This is just to help.
Okay. Do you want me to start now?
Yes.
Okay. So the theme this past year was injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. This year, the MLK ceremony was virtual. The first time creating a video due to COVID, it was 35 minutes and it was a great success. It included a very dynamic keynote speaker, Denise Randall, interviews with community leaders and youth. This year, the mural, the idea of having youth create a mural focusing on cultural diversity was mentioned. The Lakewood Multicultural Coalition, led by Council Member Mary Moss, took the lead to implement the mural as a joint project with the city, Clover Park School District, and sponsors Pierce College Foundation and Clover Park Technical College. This mural, produced by students, was highlighted at the city's 25th anniversary. The theme is the world in Lakewood. Do you want me to add anything?
That's perfect. And then you can just digest that and
Okay.
about it. You can make your own notes so that when you present, you stay on task but you definitely can make it your own. This is strictly to have a framework for you.
Okay.
But you made the video, so you can really speak to this very well. It's our first time doing a virtual event. We've never done it before. We've never created a video as an event. So it was really exciting, and
It was.
you'll be really proud of.
So I will go through the dialogue, and I'll just I probably won't read from it. I'll just use it as points. And so the purpose is to get funding for next year.
No, the purpose is at this meeting, we go over our work plan from 2020,
Okay.
which is our goals. And one of the goals, one of our event goals was to collaborate with the MLK ceremony.
Okay. Do you want me to say anything else?
No, you can just
Okay.
digest that, make it your own, and then present again next at our next meeting from your own words.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, and this is, it's kind of like a recap of what we were trying to do
Right.
too. Sally, I mean that, yeah.
Right.
refresh-
It's a recap of our year and our goals, but specifically, it is specifically tied to our work plan that we developed.
Yeah.
And so the next thing on that was the rotating art. So Lonnie.
Hey, it didn't happen. Sorry, that's terrible. Yeah, well, I mean, I can very quickly, embellish on the fact that, yeah, we don't have anybody coming in and out of City Hall. It's not possible to really get together with artists at the moment. But obviously, as COVID becomes something that's more manageable, and we can start opening things up to the public, we would like to get back into having artists selected to have their pieces on display at City Hall and in the mayor's office. And I think Susan, I still think the plan to have pieces rotate through Lake Wold Gardens is a great idea, because these artists, we want the artists to be able to have exposure as well.
Yeah, absolutely,
good.
Lonnie. And we've actually used the time at Lake Wold to put track lighting up for art and just prepare the space to be a very professional presentation area for great art.
That's fantastic. Nice.
And I think you can mention that, because there are some new council members, so they won't have that history of that partnership with Lake Wold.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Wonderful. And then Earl is not on the call, but he'll do the public art unless someone else would like to do that. But we should probably give him the chance to do that.
I could help tag team with.
Okay, great. You can just, do you want to just read through that, see if I got it, hit the main points?
Well, sure. So, okay, so implementing a new process for selecting the artists. What are you referring to by that? That we did the
Use it to public art rosters instead of an RFP.
right? Okay. So just embellish on that a little bit. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, I see. You put it down here below. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, we used the public art rosters, and we got our short list, and we were able to review work, and we picked the top 3 artists that we thought were phenomenal for this, and they came up with their proposals, and we had meetings. Each set of those artists had a 30-minute presentation to the Arts Commission, and we picked Gateway Darks by John Fleming, because we thought that was really a true gateway piece, which is what we thought this first big piece of public art should be. And it's intended to be installed sometime during the summer of 2022.
Great. And then the public art contest for the 25th anniversary. Who would like to present that?
I could do it if no one else wants to.
Okay.
Yeah, I just might need, it's just some reminders and stuff like that. But I can bring some energy and talk to them about it.
Okay. So I'll put in the little bullet points, but basically it's that in January, the commission came up with the idea of doing a virtual art contest because of COVID, and that's something that could still take place. And we included our partners, the Sister Cities Association, and they reached out to Gimhe, and the response was really overwhelming. The number of students that participated, and it went live and was presented also at the 25th anniversary. I think that's kind of the gist of it. I mean, and we can talk about the two themes. One was Love Lakewood, and and what was it? Unity. Those were the two themes. So I'll put those in a bullet point for you.
Quick question, Sally.
Mm-hmm.
Is this meeting in person in the chambers?
I believe it'll be via Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's just so different when you can't smile at people. With in-person meetings I've had with the Lakewood Playhouse, it's great to be together, but we are masked, and it is, communication with just your eyes, and your voice, which is fine.
So it's true, and there's a correction. I believe it's both, so you can show up in person or be on Zoom.
Well, so we should talk about that. Like, do we want to have part of us there with our masks on? What would be most effective? Because some people do need that in real life connection, even masked, and that's preferred. So how is the council with that?
Well, I think they'd love to see you all there. Is everyone comfortable of being in person?
Well, speakers would have to speak masked. Oh. Is that right?
I believe so.
I mean, one thing is certain, you have a lot more impact if you're a group of people who are present and presenting than if you're just, separate thumbnails in a Zoom presentation,
That's true, Linda.
I feel when I've attended these meetings in the past, I mean, obviously COVID wasn't a thing, but it is honestly, the council's a fun group of people, and there is a certain rapport when you're sitting side by side with your colleagues, and you can, we're assigning people to make a presentation on these specific categories, but you can kind of tag team, and it's more of a dialogue. It just flows better, I think, than Zoom.
Yeah, and
I agree.
I'm comfortable being there, and following what I need to follow to keep all of us safe. So, but I've been performing in spaces where the performers are allowed to take their masks off. The lawyers are allowed to take their mask off in court when they're speaking, but everyone's far away from them. And so if they have a microphone set up, for example, for us to make our presentations, that's socially distanced and people are comfortable with that, that would be fine with me. But, I don't think that's a good idea, by the way, because microphones are great and you can be far away. So just depends on what their setup is and what folks are comfortable with.
Does Lakewood have access to a plexiglass booth or a shield that could be in front of the speaker if they're not masked?
You know what? I'll find out from Brianna, who runs the meetings, everything that they have in place.
Okay.
But because this is ongoing and we have all the PPE and are taking care to implement all of that, I imagine all of those things are in place, but I'll have her confirm that with me.
Right, because we're like we're singing with masks on, and I don't know what other folks are doing, but the minister's far away, but behind, plexiglass. So, I'm comfortable with what y'all decide.
Okay.
Okay, are we ready to go on to the future?
Okay, so future public art program, that one, Sally?
Right.
Okay. Well, I'll be honest with you, I've just read your notes, so I'm not going to be able to embellish, but I'll read it see how it feels. But the development of a formal public art plan was on our 2020 work plan and was executed on time. Let me see here. Let me make it bigger. I think the comprehensive public art program document was presented to City Council in July of 2020. The presentation represented research done by Art Commission members as well as the outcomes of a public art charrette that was convened in February of 2020. It provided a clear budget and annual timelines over the next 6 years for implementation of murals, utility box wraps, rotating art, interactive art, and iconic pieces. The budget for the program is proposed to be a combination of McGattis Day funds and $1 per capita, which increases the annual public art budget from $15,000 to roughly $75,000. Art Commission is looking forward to a formal implementation of elements of the public art program in 2022 as the budget allows. In 2021, the Arts Commission was thrilled to implement one mural, a joint project with LMCC and the school district, and 4 signal box wraps. The locations were Springbrook, Bridgeport at 108, Silicon Boulevard and Lakewood Drive, and 84th and South Tacoma Way. The artists were paid a $700 stipend. Sounds good to me. Are there things that you'd like me to embellish on in particular in that list?
No, but I would recommend rewatching that PowerPoint and for everyone, if you're not familiar with it, since this is our document now, it wouldn't hurt to revisit that PowerPoint. And if you'd like me to read that, I will.
Could you resend the PowerPoint, Sally?
Sure.
Send it out. That would be great.
I will do.
Okay, so I don't know if we have Daryl on the call, but Lonnie, if not, lucky you.
I seem to,
Nights of the
right? I get to be in this group a lot. So funny.
popular.
I am, right? Well, I can speak off the top of my head that I was at the very first performance with Nightwave because they're like my favorite cover band ever because I'm a 1980s person. And it was fantastic. The crazy person dancing in the corner was Lonnie Neal. Sally, just for my own curiosity, how was the attendance figured out? Do you just have a couple of people who are roughly doing head counts?
it was pretty professional, and they had clickers, and we had
Nice.
full and 3 people clicked, and they all compared their numbers, and they did it well into the event, so everyone came, all the tricklers were in.
Right. And people sort of settle into their zones.
Mhm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Why don't you start from the top?
I will. So we had great success with the outdoor, the Summer Nights at the Pavilion concert series. And I mean, obviously it's just a wonderful event, and people, especially in time of COVID, want to come out, and that's a very safe venue, and it did really, really great. So we received, what's LTAC?
That's the lodging tax grant.
Yeah, the lodging tax. Okay, so we received the lodging tax for $20,000 to support these events. And this is up from $2,500 in 2018. And then we had an increase of $6,000 in 2019. And this allowed us to have 7 concerts and some of our highest attendance. Should I elaborate at all that, this was the lineup that we had planned for the summer of 2020, and we weren't able to do that, but we were able to carry that forward in 2021? Okay, so that's what I'll do, or Daryl will do. And I think it was great. I don't know if anybody else on the committee here attended some of the other concerts. I know from my personal circle of friends, I've heard nothing but really great things from all of these venues that people went to.
Okay, so you can read them out, or you can just say, we had, a mix of genre, our focus was a mix of different genres, from 80s to swing to salsa. The most popular was R&B, or actually blues and rock. Second was R&B, something to that effect.
Yeah, okay.
But however you want. But I did put your name because I know you were there, and sorry, I don't know if anyone else was there, but
that's fine.
Lonnie came.
Well, but I do, and I'll reach out to Daryl too. It would be great to have him come and speak on this, because he was so instrumental in, organizing this list of groups, and it's his passion. So that comes through when he talks.
Okay. And then,
is that how we're deciding who speaks, is because you were there?
not necessarily. And please, Lua, if you want to speak to any of these, it would be really nice to have everyone speak, as long as you're comfortable on the subject. Would you like to speak to any of these?
Well, you kind of have everything all assigned, so.
No. This is a draft. This is 100% a draft, and this meeting is to determine. This is a lot based on who spoke last year or who led the committee. So please, if there's a topic here that you'd like to speak to, I'd love to put your name on it. And same with anyone else.
I personally find it really, really nice to have at least two people talking about something. I mean, one of you may be the main speaker, but it's more conversational, to kind of jump in with each other and say, oh yeah, and then this happened, and then we did this, and this was so successful. We're really energized by it.
Yeah, I agree. It just kind of adds amplification, and when it's kind of tag teamed. So, I don't know how Sylvie feels, but it's potentially someone else could join Sylvie in that presentation too, starting with MLK.
Lua, would you like to split the future of public art with Linda and on this bullet point when it starts talking about the formal implementation, and then the murals and the signal box wrap since you were involved with picking the artists? And
So,
your feedback was really
I think it's
critical.
important that the people who were involved speak of it. I mean, I just had to ask the question, but because you want us to all be there. So, but definitely we didn't want to just sit there. But anyway, if people were involved in it, because they can speak passionately about it, and that's okay with me. Yeah, I'd rather do that.
Okay, because you were, I felt like you're really, your feedback was really instrumental in the artists we picked for the signal box wraps for this portion here.
Yeah, that's good. I can help. I can be with Linda if there was nobody else there.
Okay, I think that would be great.
Okay, we will tag team that one, Lua.
Awesome.
So I'll just highlight in red, perhaps the part you can take right there. Okay. And then life. Linda, that's you.
Yeah, I'm going.
As this event was canceled.
Yeah, I'm doing this on a phone, so it's kind of
Yeah,
small.
that's the only
Everything is-
bullet point. It just says it was canceled and we plan to implement it in 2022, but I think it's a great opportunity to remind them what it is, why we're doing it, and how
Yeah.
it is COVID.
I'll
proof.
just take the high
We'll be
points
blocked out.
from my LTAC presentation, if that's okay with you, and just use that to remind them what it's all about, that it's a creative process that allows people to tell their stories through the medium of film, and that they will submit their entries as part of a team that will subsequently be judged potentially by members of the city council as well as the Arts Commission, and it will all culminate in a sharing of all 30 films at an event sometime in March.
Right. Now, Lua, would you like to do the holiday festivities?
How about Phil?
With the reverse parade.
Phil not doing anything. Phil and Nikki.
I'm here.
And Paige.
Oh, Phil was Santa.
Yeah, Phil, you were Santa.
I can come as Santa.
No one's asking you to do that, Phil. No,
Can't do that. Okay.
I'm teasing.
Oh, I already asked
let's do
Phil.
it.
He's already in the books as Santa.
Look, it would be a built-in mask just with the whole beard.
I'm right. A beard. It's a
I could
beard,
use a
really.
mask. People say I have a face for radio.
Oh, can you see the talking points for the holidays?
Could you remind me of the date of this presentation?
It's October 11th at 7 p.m.
Oh, I've been saved because I leave October 10th for Iceland.
Oh, Phil. Okay.
No, I'd be happy to do it, but I'm going to be gone from October 10th till November 4th.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is a fun one. Whoever was at the parade and would like to talk, let me know.
It was a great event last year. It is a fun one.
It really is, but we need to get some traffic under control. I mean, that's a huge deal. It was a big event.
So we've, on that note, we've changed the location, so cars will not be an issue. But who would like to speak to this one?
I'm glad to. I mean, it was just wonderful. Just so many people came and so many people were hungry for some community. And I thought we did the best we could, and we'll do better hopefully this year.
Well, I was at the end when people were leaving and everybody was really happy, kids and adults alike. Even if
There were
they
just
had
people
a
in their cars for hours,
They loved it.
Yeah.
Paige?
Yeah.
ask you not to actually say those words because that doesn't sound great, but. could
Well,
you
I know,
do the
but that's
talking?
what happened. I mean, we want to make it better for people so they don't have to be in their car for hours.
It just speaks to how people
Yeah.
people came. You
Oh,
know, yeah, it was epic. So I can
I
definitely,
felt safe.
I can help. I don't know that can somebody else be the lead on this, but I will definitely tag team in on it.
I'll take the lead.
Okay, that's great. So we've got Lua and Lonnie
Yep.
on
Yeah.
Holiday Festival.
Yeah, between the two of us, we can make it really passionate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can speak for my
Love
my
to
whole
get back.
family was raving about it. They were all there.
Well, that's
And I was
great.
part of helping with the judging and all that. So
Yeah, I think that really this speaks so well to the commission on how quickly you can pivot and be flexible. And the fact that this was a brand new, never been done event. And so Lou, I'll just have you read through. I know this is kind of silly, it's just bullet points, but I think it just gets it in your head and then you can make it your own. Are you there?
So historically, we had a parade starting at Park Lodge Elementary School and ending at City Hall with the tree lighting and candy cane lane vendors, entertainment, and Santa Claus visits. And last year, due to COVID, we implemented the reverse parade in Town Center with great success. Thousands of cars drove through. Saturday, December 12th, we had stationary floats while participants drove by. Santa was on the last float with elves, some city council members. Oh, and city council members, some of you were in it. Thank you for being there in that cold weather, handing out Google bags.
So Lua, the city council members were some of the elves handing out the goodie bags and they really were amazing. It was so cold that night. So we can give a nice shout out to them.
Okay, we can do that. And so Lonnie, you want to finish it off?
sure. We were able to give out 3 trophies for the different floats. And I'll just personally say that the floats, because they weren't moving, there was one whole group that got an award that they were doing dances in front of their floats. House of Donuts local owner had this epic display of he brought not only the donut truck, but then had this display of these sort of vintage snowmen, lit up ornaments from the 1950s. It was fantastic. So having the opportunity to have the spectators drive by the displays it was just epic. It worked really, really well. And I think the sheer volume of people that we had show up and wanted to be there and wanted to see this really speaks to how successful it was.
Yes.
So where's our new location? And are there going to be some traffic folks driving?
Oh, sorry. There was just one more bullet point that the lighting was virtual and combined with the council meeting the Monday before the event.
Okay.
Okay. So Paige, to answer your question, we are having a meeting tomorrow, but we're looking at moving it completely to Fort Steilacoom Park. And perhaps using the entire park for parking, getting rid of the cars altogether and having it be a walkthrough. Because we literally can't come up with any location in the city that will accommodate 2 miles of traffic, which is what we need.
That's a great idea. That park is huge and people get out of their cars to do zoo lights, for example. So.
Right. I think it'd be
Good point.
So I'll share more, but the thought is basically with, people can park in all of Fort Silicon Park. We'd have a bunch of food trucks, and that would kind of kick off the walking area so people could grab their food and they could walk and they could eat. And then tour the floats. One whole side would be facing Silicon Boulevard. So then people could see it from the road as well. And then just circle around.
Excellent.
Sounds great. Okay, Susan, do you feel comfortable talking about our retreat that you were so gracious to host back in November?
Yes, yes, absolutely. We did have the retreat. November 8th, we held it on the veranda at Lakewood Gardens where there's some heated lamps, but it was still quite chilly. We had a docent tour and we had a guest speaker, Ian Williams, who's a veteran, a stone carver, how art heals and is relevant in today's world. And we also had Bedlam Arts Partners there, who are also a partner with Creative Forces, which is a program at 11 military hospitals across the country, including the Intrepid Spirit Center right here in Lakewold at Joint Base Lewis McChord. Madigan Army Medical Center is part of this network of medical facilities. And the programs helped treat traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other psychological health conditions. The Creative Forces Art Therapies are at the core of patient-centered care. They are working to build a network of community-based programs for current and former patients and their families, including at Lakewold Garden, I might add. This network will help them as they transition from treatment in a clinical setting to arts programming in their community.
So you can totally make that your own and how it's relevant to the council members in the Arts Commission. I pulled that from our agenda.
Yes.
So spark your memory.
This is great. I mean, we're very, I can talk to this. I mean, because this area has a number of very significant community programs that are addressing this need. So I'm very excited to talk about it.
And I think the retreats are just always such a nice bonding opportunity.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
We had a lot of fun there, I think.
I think we did, yes.
And the food was great, I remember. So this will be fun to talk about.
Well, and it was one of the first things we did post-COVID. I mean, or not post-COVID.
Yeah, totally.
We could get together.
Yes.
Group. I mean,
Yeah, totally.
It was really, that part of it was epic. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. Great bonding. Yeah. That was the first time. Yeah, one of the first times we could come together because it was outside. It was cold.
That's right. Vaccinations and everything. Yeah, that's right. And Paige can do the world's longest headstand ever.
That's right. That's right. I remember.
And very graciously, even though Lua couldn't attend, she sent food that everyone
yes, she did.
Ravenously scarfed down.
Yes, we liked you right away, Lua. We liked you right away.
I was really happy to meet everyone in person at Sally's house. You know, that makes a lot of difference when you're on a Zoom meeting and you already met people and you got to know them. So I feel much better about our group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Susan, did you want to talk a little bit about the ongoing education and the speakers?
Yes, I'm very happy to. I think it shows the Arts Commission is eager to learn and grow from other colleagues in the community. We're very fortunate to have Kelly Pajek, the art program director for folk culture. Elizabeth Connor from UWT, arts professor, multimedia and public art. I mean, they were very helpful and insightful presentations to the group that I think our ongoing education efforts help us to be a better and stronger arts commission.
Oh, I love that.
Love that. Love that. Okay. So there are some questions that we should probably formulate to be able to ask the city council. One of the questions that we've asked in the past is there anything that we're not doing that you would like us to do or you would like to see more of?
That's a good one.
So that's one that I remember from last year, but it, you know, COVID changes things, and there's a lot that's changed in our world since, and maybe they have some things on their radar that they would like to add. So I think that question still has relevance. Does anyone else have any questions that they think would be appropriate to ask at this time?
Oh, I'm raising my hand and now I realize you can't see it. But on that note, I'm anticipating the response, which is that they will want the events at the Colonial Plaza because they've created this event space that's rarely been used. And so I'd like you to know how to respond to that, which is for our 2022 work plan. I wrote a lodging tax grant to get funds to support a series of 6 events at Colonial Plaza. I think 6 events that would happen at like the second Saturday of each month on the fair weather months, like May through October.
Okay.
So yeah, they'd all have an element of food, dance, and entertainment, and then each one would have a different theme. So the basic format, but each one would have a different theme, and that is something the Arts Commission will be working on, which will be really fun.
Okay.
That sounds very doable.
Yeah. Okay, well, we can certainly come back with that when they say we'd like to see events transpiring at that venue. Does anyone have any questions? So for the commission that they would like to hear a response.
I think that we have a good report for them.
I have a question, especially because we have some new council members. I'd like to ask them on their pulse on our population, what they
so delicious
are.
I'll take them home though. Okay. I'll pay you tomorrow.
What they think our community members are ready for now in terms of art. What do they feel our community is ready for? Because you know, having a pulse on your population, and it's just like some of the artists mentioned, like Peter, that you can't sell certain types of art to people where it's not digestible yet. Because they aren't art lovers yet. They aren't engaged in that profession in any way. They aren't knowledgeable about it. So you have to come in kind of really at a grassroots level. So I'd be very curious in the city council members' minds, what do they feel our community is ready for in terms of public art?
Public art installations, or okay, that sounds good.
And I wanted to ask a question, and Sally, you mentioned an artist had an issue with the name Colonial Center.
Yeah.
I've thought about that. I've thought about that quite a lot, and I think we need to get that on the radar.
Yes.
We can change, we can grow as a community. Colonialism is rare thing anymore, and it's insensitive to our super diverse population. I think to not address that and change it. We can do it in a way that's nice. And I agree, it's a beautiful space, but I would hate for people to be like, ugh.
No, I agree with you, Paige. I thought that was a very relevant comment that that artist made. And I'm so glad they did make that comment because it really came home hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I was here listening to what Sally was saying and what is the community ready for. In one of the community sort of sharing ideas about the Recovery Act money that's going to local districts, one of the things that came up, just as a side, so we keep this in our minds, is the teen population and how they have had such a lot of anxiety to deal with, and how arts can really help that. And I think that was the Boys and Girls Club that said that, or the YMCA, but I think that rings true too.
Could you rephrase that as a question?
So
How do I rephrase that as a question?
Or is that?
Well, I think we just talked about creative forces as utilizes the arts as a healing mechanism. How does the council see the healing properties of arts being implemented in our community?
It's almost a new not spin. We've had a lot of that with the soldiers and JBLM and post-traumatic stress, but we're talking about a new population that's dealing with the same.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, yes,
You know,
yes, and the anxiety in the
the young
community.
generation that's, they're not adults yet and they're living here and they're, yeah.
yeah, Susan, I liked it when you added in the piece about our youth and how as a group, as a population, perhaps maybe they have more acutely felt the separation, the anxiety, the whatever, depression perhaps that COVID has wrought. I think when you're young and you haven't been battle tested like adults and the like, you haven't had the opportunity to develop or flex your resilience muscles,
Right.
or your perspective muscles. And so asking them a question about how they would view the Arts Commission reaching out to that population in terms of art, you framed it better than me, but
I think
maybe making it specific to a group.
Right, yeah. I think it was just one particular segment of our community that the representatives from these various organizations, it came up quite a lot that their concern about the teen population. So I do think, I mean, we all know that broad sweeping statement here, but the arts keep kids in school. So,
I think it's really, really important to touch on that. I really do. I think that's a great question for you to ask.
Okay, so I'm doing my best, and I'll email this out, and you can fine tune it for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone have another question before we move on?
Well, how do you want me to frame the question about the Colonial Plaza? I have the name of Colonial Plaza has some negative connotations, and this was mentioned by one of the artists in our selection process who refused to partake because of the name itself.
Exactly. Like, if this is actively, what's the word? Putting people off.
Yes, it is.
then that's something that we need to think about before we move forward. Because I did talk to some donors over at Lakewood Playhouse during their opening gala, who said, "Oh, Lakewood was always this beautiful blue lit area. We would drive to Lakewood. There were these blue lights in the trees." And I was thinking about the Colonial Plaza and thinking that's really kind of the idea with that place, right? To kind of recreate the magic that Lakewood held for Tacoma residents when they would come down and visit. So there's other words we can use besides colonial, you know.
So I said, do the council members have any plans to rename the plaza? If so, what is the time frame and what will this process look like?
Good.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
How do you rename the plaza? I thought it belonged to developers.
It does. It's owned by Glamour.
Are they willing to rename it?
You'd have to ask them.
I don't believe it's an official name. It's just what it's been coined. It's not an official name.
Okay.
Well, I think when there's a lot of lineage to Norton Clapp, the former president of Weyerhaeuser, there's a lot of institutional people of my age group, you know, that have strong ties to that plaza itself in terms of how it came about. But time moves on. So, you know, a starting point would start with the council, who can ask the Glamour if, you know, if they're interested or they care.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question on the plaza, because can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So the plaza, there doesn't seem to be much there except for the historical museum, I think, is there, and then some offices. Would the city be willing to rent some of those offices and turn them into art spaces to draw people there for like art nights or something like that?
Or would the city be willing to spend money to rent some of those?
Yeah, rent some of the spaces to like maybe put a gallery or galleries or some other art spots.
That's a really interesting idea. Very, very interesting.
Right. What a great.
Taking some other models from other cities, like Scottsdale has an art area, and it's very popular, and they do all kinds of activities there. It draws a lot of people, not only in the community, but tourists. It's a gathering place. Music is there and art. Sorry, I've got my grandson.
I think that's a very interesting idea and should be considered.
Yay, good idea.
Yeah, just be advised that property is about 83 years old. And I mean, we've got roofing leaks all the time that we have to work with Glamour to get them fixed. There's a lot of wiring and installations. Back when they did the study, I think the most viable thing when they were trying to figure out what to do with that space would be to take the current building and actually, because the cost of bringing it up to code was astronomical, of possibly leveling the building, but keeping the theater watchtower as the symbolic center, and then build a brand new facility that would be built to code. And you could design it any way to meet the current needs and the future needs. Because you've got a building there right now that's 83 years old, 84. I mean, it's just thought.
Some of us like old houses, Phil, and we like to put all of our money into them, constantly fixing them up. That's why we live in Lakewood.
It's taxpayers' money you're going to have to put into it.
I know.
I think there's a movie about that called Money Pit.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling you, and also in terms of rent, we pay about, you know, the rent's going to cost you for a moderate space, probably around $18,000 to $20,000 a year.
Well, there are programs out there that we could look at and model it, you know, because I'm just thinking about Tacoma's spaces program where you can have storefronts and you can put your art in it. And
Spaceworks.
Spaceworks, yeah,
Wonderful program.
and there's also a like an incubator to help artists resettle here, mostly refugees from Seattle, economic refugees.
Yeah, no, I'm not against the idea. I'm just trying to give you some background knowledge and some cost so you know what you're dealing with. Also the city of Tacoma has got that tax now.
Yes, yes,
and,
yes.
Yes, they're becoming, in terms of their arts and their other projects, they're doing quite well with the revenue from that, and they're putting it to good use.
Indeed, it's really helping the cultural establishments very much.
Yes, very much, and it was much needed.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you. Mhm.
Yeah, it'd be nice to maybe try to do something like that. Obviously, performing artists are just desperate to perform. And I'm so happy that some visual artists are getting some work from our commission. But yeah, it'd be super cool to provide spaces and places for dance, for movement. God, my dancer friends are just all dying. They're just dying. They miss it so much. So
Yeah.
keeping people safe is the most important thing right now. And that's a moving target still, unfortunately. I know. And in Code Black and Olympia, where they're in the hallways and in the, unvaccinated folks who were in the ICU are filling it up, as well as the hallways and the staff room. So
Yeah,
we're in it still.
Okay, so in the interest of time, it's almost 6:30, but we're not done with the agenda.
So
Are we-
Sally, do you have
place
enough
where we can
questions
move on?
at this point? Do you have enough questions? We're good?
Yes.
Okay, and so do we just want to briefly touch on the lodging tax grants? Because I think I've already talked about Real Life 96, how that's going to be talked about on the 23rd. I know that you've prepared stuff for 6 events.
Yeah, I think we can skip over that and the next bullet point and go to, we need to talk about the retreat, Linda. If you're comfortable, if we could jump to that really quick before we kick it off.
Well, the last element that I have is the 2022 budget for public art program. I don't have anything about a retreat.
Right, that's because I forgot about it. And it always sneaks up. And I just remembered how cold it was in November. And I think we need to do it in October before it gets cold.
Okay.
Which means a subcommittee needs to meet on that.
We're happy to
Okay.
offer Lake Wold again.
Yes. Who would like to be on that planning committee? And we'll pick a date. And we'll put an agenda together.
I'm fine with that, Sally.
Okay, Paige.
Yeah, me
Susan,
here.
you're in because we're doing it at your pad.
Thank you.
Put my name on that
Let's
list.
have
I have
Sally,
a
let's
handful
have
of things
Lua
coming
on
up.
there. She brings good food.
On the veranda. Is that how you
I'll
say
put
it?
Lil on there. She's off the call. I
Yeah.
can throw her on. Okay, great. I'll organize that, you guys. But be thinking what you want to do, and we'll pick a date, Susan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
We could, we can do this quickly. All right.
okay.
Cool.
So Sally, just to recap very briefly, you're going to send out the PowerPoint again that details our public art program.
Correct.
Okay. And do we need a practice session in advance of October 10th? Excuse me. Yeah, it's
We'll do it at our next meeting.
October 11th. Okay. So yeah, we'll have time we'll dedicate some time to that. And then I can't think of anything else. Does anyone have anything for the good of the order?
I'd like to say thank you to Lua for that wonderful event that she put on. I had a terrific time.
Oh, that was great.
Yes, it was.
It was excellent event. Well done, Lua.
She snuck off.
Okay. Well, with that said, everyone, I wish you all a pleasant evening. Thank you for either calling in or being available via Zoom, and look forward to seeing your smiling faces in October.
But September 18th at the Plaza.
See you Saturday.
Yes, in advance of that, on
Yeah.
the, yes, and if you're a volunteer, show up in front of the theater at 10:30.
Yeah,
And
and
Ivan's paintings
putting
will
on
be
a
for
series of
sale.
events there. It'll be really helpful to see this.
Okay.
I said Ivan's
All right.
paintings will be available for sale.
Okay.
Support an artist.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Well, because they're posthumous, they should be, should be worth a lot. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.